A month ago, right after Trump said he struck a peace deal to end the war, Russian President Vladimir Putin launched one of the most devastating bombardments on Ukraine's capital, Kyiv, since the war began. Trump responded by posting online, "Vladimir, stop." Wouldn't you know, Vladimir did not stop. And over the weekend, Russia launched an even bigger aerial assault on Kyiv. And Trump responded again by going online, writing that Putin has, quote, gone absolutely crazy. Now, Trump has been largely defending Russia, criticizing Ukraine and cutting off necessary U.S. assistance since he took office. But now that he appears pretty impotent in achieving his promise of ending the war, well, he's melting down publicly a little. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov, who often chooses his words, almost always, carefully, brushed off Trump's outburst by calling it, quote, emotional, which probably got under Trump's skin. But more importantly, what's clear is that Trump doesn't have a handle on ending the war. He never did. And all of the siding with his friend Putin has only led to empowering him further. Joining me now is Susan Rice. She's the former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations and the former national security advisor to President Obama. There's so much I want to ask you about. I want to start just by asking you, I mean, you've engaged with the Russians for decades. You know who all these players are very, very well. I mentioned Peskov's statement calling Trump's response emotional. He's always thoughtful about what he says. What did you think that overall message is about?
Well, Jen, it's good to be with you. I have to say, when I heard the Peskov statement, I kind of chuckled to myself, as I imagine you might have, because the calling a person emotional or their reaction emotional is a favorite put down. I've certainly heard them use it many times in the past. They particularly like to use it in a way of putting down women and calling them emotional. So the fact that Peskov referred to Trump's reaction as emotional was really designed to get under his skin, and understandably so.
No question. I also chuckled a little bit. Definitely often directed at women. Trump is clearly overestimating his relationship with Putin. That's an evergreen statement, perhaps for a decade or more. I mean, Russia seems empowered in Ukraine. How do you think the Kremlin and Putin read his behavior and sort of what happens from here? Because as much as we can chuckle about Peskov's statement, this is all, of course, incredibly serious. And they seem quite empowered without the backing of the U.S. for the Ukrainians.
It's deadly serious, Jen. I mean, we've just witnessed over the last several days the most intensive Russian attack on Ukrainian cities and civilians of the entire war. And Putin is doing this precisely because he knows that Trump has not been prepared to do anything to stop him. They had a phone call last week that reportedly lasted 2 hours. Trump came out of it giving a very upbeat readout. And the next thing you know, Putin is launching this intensified attack. And this is all coming about, frankly, because Trump in the first instance boasted ridiculously that he could end the war in one day, and then went on to give Putin everything he could have asked for and more in terms of Ukrainian territory, no security guarantees from the U.S. for Ukraine, no NATO membership, take the Donbass, take Crimea, get Crimea recognized as Russian territory. He handed all of that to Putin, and Putin said, nope, sorry, not enough. And so Putin's calculating he can keep on playing Trump, drawing out this war at great human cost. And the only question is there a certain point at which Trump really does have enough and puts meaningful additional sanctions on Russia and provides Ukraine with the equipment and financing that it so desperately needs and deserves.
We will see, and that is certainly what a lot of people are advocating for. I know you have been a huge advocate of that, as many have. While I have you, I mean, if he makes a decision like that, there needs to be a process. And on Friday, they fired, we don't have the exact numbers, but many people from the NSC. They dismantled it enormously. Rubio has 4 jobs, apparently. A lot of people have said, I would say Republicans who are defending him and others, Trump doesn't care about policy processes. It doesn't matter. And I know it matters. You especially know it matters. because the NSC is not only the body that sort of helps make decisions, but also implements. What are the things that concern you the most, having had the National Security Advisor role before, about the dismantling you're seeing?
I'm deeply concerned by it, Jen, for a variety of reasons. It's one thing to trim carefully the staff, to do it in a deliberate way. That's not what this is. This looks like they took a battle axe to the NSC staff. It's very worrying that we have a national security advisor, as you said, that's wearing 3 other hats. I can attest with confidence that the national security advisor role by itself is more than a full-time job. But what it really concerns me most is that it indicates that Trump could care less about decision-making, information flow, intelligence analysis, and considered deliberations about our national security. He is not governing and not using the apparatus of the National Security Council and the national security agencies in a manner that serves the national interest. It's all top down, his personal whim, his personal interest. And he doesn't care what the analysis is, what the recommendations are, the considerations of the risks and benefits of any course of action, because all he wants to do is wake up or stay up in the middle of the night and tweet out his dictate. And that's a very, very dangerous way to make policy in the interests of the United States. It will not serve our national interest. It will inevitably lead to bad decisions and to bad outcomes for our national security.